Hi everyone, this is Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Rick's Future Revealed. This has been 24 hours in the making. I appreciate everybody being here. Google, YouTube, absolute madness yesterday, but we are finally here. Thanks to my temporary hall monitor, Wilson, for doing a little bit of moderating. Just a real quick update last night. Apparently, from about 9 o'clock for a couple hours, YouTube was down, and some people were in the stream early. If you're in the stream, you're allowed to sort of be there for a little bit. If you left and tried to get back in, it completely shut down. So we're just trying to message everybody. But you didn't miss anything last night. Appreciate everybody being here, but we do have some great information. You can take it for what it's worth. I think it's kind of some good reveal, but we'll play on that in just one second. I do want to say thanks to the people that are here, and also a couple brand new Patreons. So even though we're off last night, we had a couple people join and support the network. So I want to thank them for being here. And we've got our let's see. Hold on. We got ads popping up everywhere. So we got Jonathan Jordan and also Knoxville Mike. Thank you so much for joining the team, and appreciate everything that all of you guys do. So we're going to get into it tonight in full force. Let me start out by saying, how many people have been to the IMDb site recently? Anybody check some of that stuff out? Because I know sometimes they're spot on, sometimes they're a little bit off, but had a chance to go through and just see which actors are going to be there, and they have Rick scheduled all the way up till episode number 8. Now, we have seen with them in the past that they, they'll get a fan sponsored, or they'll get somebody that adds to the plot, but usually their names and titles and actors are pretty much on the money, which is a little bit odd. So I want to talk about that in 1 second. So we got Valar in the house with a super chat saying, "Hello 99 Army, Kill Steph, Emmy, Kel, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, and of course all the super chatters." And there's one of the super chatters right there. Thank you so much. So I went through and went kind of episode by episode, and I'm not going to say that they're 100%, but it does seem just a little bit odd that they do have, they're accurate on some of it. But a couple things that I do want to say is Lydia is listed, I think, in maybe episode number 7, which might be Stradivarius. And Evolution is the mid-season finale. Now, maybe they just put him on there because he's contracted all the way through the 8th. Servant Chris, thank you so much. Appreciate that super chat. Says much love to all. So the feeling is mutual. Appreciate you being here. And they have goofed before, no doubt, Uncle Creepy. But so have other sites. And from what we've heard, we have not gotten a confirmation 100%. It's just spoiler sites have been ramping that up. And even the spoiler sites that are saying Rick's exit is in 5 have still not released what his exit is all about. So we could be a little bit back to square one. That's only some of the news. Because we are talking about Rick's future. I do think that is a modest reveal. But we've also got some additional spoiler news from this week's episode. So I do have to warn everybody. Appreciate all of you guys being here. If you want to turn away for a few minutes as we talk some of this week's spoiler. If you watched the playback the other night, we spoiled about a third of the episode. Some big news. But this is kind of subtle. But I do want to get everybody's thoughts on this. So here you go. You have been warned. So we know the deal with Justin, that Justin has been taken out, and it's been taken out by the Oceanside. If you didn't watch the stream the other night, now you know. It's like, oh, I thought it was the Whispers. There's still some people that may not have watched the playback. But check this out. A lot of this week's episode, and I think it's going to be a really good episode, is going to really get you in that old sentimental feeling. It's going to be, and you see the picture up on the screen. Rick is kind of standing back. It's going to be family day. But there is one subtle little clue. I mean, we saw Rick and Michonne laying there, and she said, oh, the famous Rick Grimes. And we knew some things had been going down, more so. You know, life's back to normal, so normal relations take place. But check this out. This is from the spoiler, and it says, Judith is getting a little bit sick. She has a cough. Just something to keep in mind. Rick and Michonne are going to take her to see Sadiq, but they also, they promised a big event for Judith. But Rick tells Michonne, and I quote, "I can think of another way to build for the future." Michonne says, "Yeah?" And he says, "Oh, yeah." So, some of those rumors that are out there may very well be true. So, the intent here, the innuendo, is that Michonne and Rick baby. Now, I know people on the show in the past have said, no more kids, no more kids. But it really is the future, and it is building for the future. So Rick leaving and actually having another baby that could be immune, as we talk about. We don't know what it's like for people born in these conditions, if they are immune to it. And that could be a big future storyline between Judith and Rick Jr. I don't know what we're going to call him, but I guess we'll call him Rick Jr. Interesting dynamic for Rick's future. So it does appear as if they might be planning ahead. It still doesn't mean Rick dies, Rick is captured, Rick is leaving on 5. But here's what we've heard at this point, okay? We've heard Rick leaves in 5, and then we heard Rick leaves in 6. Now, it's what comes after, which I think had a lot of people really interested. And the assumption was what comes after Rick. But, as I said, since we don't have full spoiler confirmation yet, we will probably next week, but the IMDb site, I'm sorry, I think I keep saying BD, you get it, IMDb is listing Andrew Lincoln all the way through episode 8. What's more interesting about that is they are definitely, if you look at their site and click on episode 9, Norman Reedus is the first person listed. So even though a lot of times it's not accurate, they have definitely taken him off for the back half of the season. And episode 8 is apparently called Evolution. Now, the title in itself, if he does die in 8, or if he does get bitten in 8, or if there is a, think about it. I mean, what comes after could definitely be in 6, but that could be a lot of different things. But Evolution is a very interesting title, because I think you could see the implementation of the Whispers. You could see Rick and the change in Rick, or people wanting to study Rick, the people in the helicopter. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could go down. The Whispers could be, as we kind of referred to it, we talked about more like de-evolution, right? That the Whispers are, it's almost a paradox, that their evolving is actually through devolving. It all at this point is perspective. I mean, we don't, there was that reference to evolution, and that could have been a hidden clue in the museum. I think someone just said that a little bit ago, to where you've got the different stages of man, and then someone kills a walker, and then it's over there, so the walker. But that could mean that Rick becomes a walker, or could mean that the Whisperers might be more advanced by being more primitive. I know that's a hard concept to really get. And Len Cantrell, if you only trust the Spoiling Dead, then by all means tell them to start posting, because if they know what's going on, they definitely are not sharing the Rick exit with anyone. And it's okay to trust them. But either they're just going to hold it till the last minute, not release it to anyone, or, as they did earlier, they kind of backed off a real early prediction. But I do think there's a lot of anxiety. So, at this point, I want to throw this. I want to throw this out to just everybody here, the 999 Army. Is the Rick exit something you want to be shocked by, or is it something that's just causing more anxiety? Because I'll tell you, for me, it's not a healthy anxiety. I don't believe in healthy anxiety. I think there's either anxiety or there's no anxiety. And at this point, I just want to know whether he's going to die, whether or not it's going to be open-ended. Even if I don't know how he dies, I just want it confirmed. Something as big as this, I don't mind it being spoiled. And I think most people, you can see the chat right now, right? It's anxiety. And they're just hyping it up as watches, final episodes. And they won't even tell us how many episodes. Final episodes, what does that mean? 8, 5, 6, 4? Well, I don't know. Hang on till the end and there's more ads. Now, between you and me, I'm not anti-ad because I would love for all of you to watch the ads in every YouTube video that we do, even though I can't specifically ask you to do that. It would be a nice like. Ads serve a purpose. But there have been more of them, and the fact that AMC has been hyping up Rick's final episodes, there's some serious money being thrown out there. Jennifer Wright. Jennifer says they want to make us crazy, and I think we are. Dan, you watch your language. We love ads. All right. I'm going to throw a couple more spoilers around. So as you guys know, we are going to just sort of dissect. We would have given a few last night. Unfortunately, YouTube did not cooperate. But here we are on Wednesday, and we'll save a few more for tomorrow night. We're not going to go through all of them. We did about a third of them the other night. Definitely, the Justin story is a little bit shocking. So how that plays out, I do think there's several, what I like to call in play. There's several Rick things that are still in play. This look with Rick, I think is... Tell me what you think this means. Before I tell you what I think it means, take a look at this particular picture that's up there with Michonne, Judy, and Rick's observation. And what's the first thing that comes to mind? Okay, I got you with Casey. That's true. But more than just Michonne training Judith. Think bigger picture. Think deeper. Dreaming, preparing, family. Kind of like Morgan did with Henry. Maria says family time. Maybe beyond family time. A little bit deeper, everybody. Something he'll take with him. Something he'll cherish. The brutal nature of the world that we live in. I'm gonna get to Super Chat, and then I'm going to talk about what this means to me in 1 second. Michelle Mercer, thank you so much. Appreciate the Super Chat. And Michelle says, there is no exit suitable enough for the magnitude of his character to me, other than open-ended. The exodus of people that will stop watching when Rick leaves will be too biblical, in my opinion. Michelle, I agree with most of what you're saying. I have seen The Walking Dead rebound from things, but they've never killed Rick. So I fully feel that. However, I don't know that the Exodus is going to be at a point where it's going to become Fear of the Walking Dead. Fear of the Walking Dead is still getting, let's say, 1.6 million. and live plus 7, let's say they're getting 2.2 million. Walking Dead, maybe 5 million plus 7, maybe still over 5.5. So even if you lose 20% of your audience, that's big money. But I don't think it's going to destroy the franchise. There's no doubt whether he dies or whether he leaves, people are going to turn away. But I do hear exactly what you're saying, that if it's open-ended, it'll be less catastrophic than if it's not. And I agree with Madison. And Michelle, I'll tell you, most of our viewers that participate in the streams, they're going to stay with the show regardless. I mean, they're going to be here. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's all I care about. I don't care about people that stop watching the show. I care about the people that are in these streams, involved in the chats, because the people that are going to stop watching the show, a lot of times, they're people that pop in and they say a couple words and they criticize the show. Yeah, they like it, certain aspects of it, but then they don't like certain aspects of it. And I'm gonna be a fan of the show. I know I'll be a fan of the show. And of course, I'm going to cater to my audience, because this audience is what's important to me. And I'm not going to be out there trying to recruit people to come back. So I know that's a little harsh, but that's kind of, that's what our channel is. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate that insight. I'm going to dig down. And those of you that are new, a couple things. First of all, we got a ton of people here, and we are going to dig down a little bit deeper into the plot, the psychology, the storyline. If you've never watched our channel, hopefully we give you a different perspective and a different analysis, because we will hypothesize and we will critique and we will sort of break it down. I'm going to ask all the people here, which is a ton of people, and we've kind of gotten your attention, and a lot of people are new. Do me a favor, hit that like button or hit the dislike button. Make a choice. If you're a part of what we do, if you're a part of our channel and you like to participate and you like what we do, then show us that you like it. If you don't, and you just jumped into the wrong stream and you had a few minutes to kill and you hope that our channel disappears and that I get, pneumococcal pneumonia and stop talking on YouTube, then hit the dislike button. That's your choice. That's definitely your prerogative. We're going to respect you either way. So back to a little bit of this picture and what I got out of it. This picture was very moving to me because it's not real. And I don't mean it's a dream. I mean it's not real. Little kids are not supposed to be on a playground learning to fight. Little kids are supposed to be on a playground playing and enjoying themselves. And Rick's look is one of, this is what the world's become. And Michonne's is so happy and so normal because it's accepted. This is the way of life at this point. And I think it shows a couple things. One, it shows that there can be enjoyment in a very, very dark world. But number two, I think Rick's vision of Carl and the way Carl wanted the world is gradually going to be distorted until Rick's end. So get your thoughts on that. We got Jimmy's Jamming in the house. What's up, JJ? We missed you. Says, hi, Kill. Sorry I'm late. Mods, Emmy, Steph, Kale, Tommy, 909. Best place to be on a weeknight talking about our favorite show. And we do have the best group of people. I mean, we got just an amazing group of people who participate quite a bit. So thank you for that. But did want to throw out a little bit of that perspective of Michonne. So as we talked about tonight, we will be jumping into a couple additional spoilers. So we know that Rick is thinking additional children, repopulating the world. How do you feel about that? let me just ask the audience, not how do you feel about Rick repopulating. Do you feel that these children that are born after the apocalypse could potentially be immune? And that the goal is going to be to build up a brand new immune society by meeting more people and focusing more on relationships. Because what that does is that gives us a ending to the show that we really haven't talked about a whole lot. I mean, we've talked about finding a cure, but if there is no cure, taps Ghost Lover, he says, not immune, no way. The alternative is every person on this earth dies. Every person on the show dies. They lose out. If there is no cure, the dead will overrun the living. What do walkers need to survive? Let's think about that for a second. Food, humans, nothing really. And I guess that's something I always wanted to take a deep dive into. How long does it take a walker to die? To dry up, to completely rot, to not be in existence? I mean, we don't see a lot of rotted up, dead walkers that just couldn't take another step. It does, right, Lynn B? It takes a long time. I only throw this out because I think we've looked at the future from a limited perspective. And that is either one or the other. It's been, they will either find a cure or they will either be consumed by the dead and there will be no one around to do anything. But reproduction, we're going to have to add a couple layers to this. Is one, now, how do you find out if a kid's immune? That's a good question. And I do think that would be, I think that would be a nice storyline. Tell me what you think about this. What if Judy got bit and didn't turn? And I genuinely care about your opinion with this. Do you think it ends the show because it's like, okay, now we know the answer? Or do you think it starts a reasonable time clock? I mean, you can't make everyone children. You're not going to infuse everyone probably with children blood. That may or may not be an answer. But you would start a clock and say, look, now in 15, 20 years, I don't know why, I'm sorry, I didn't mean 15. In more than 18 years, how about that? I'm got people thinking 15-year-olds are going to be out there reproducing. In 18 or more years after they're born, there could be an answer. But you still have to keep them out of harm's way. which would add that other layer we're talking about, which means that you would need a place that is completely devoid of walkers. A place where walkers don't exist, can't survive. So you almost need, whether that's an element, whether it's a city of Atlantis. I'm being corny with this, but I'm just saying that the cure doesn't have to necessarily be manufactured. It can be created and reproduced. But it doesn't mean that the show just ends. And that could also be a valid ending to the show as well, that some of these people that just can't be cured, they got to go. They got to die off because they're just holding everybody else back. So see, there's a fine line. There's enough kids that grow up. The adults need to protect them to a certain extent. There needs to be an environment that is completely safe, and they're going to continue to look for that. And then the adults are just going to have to be like, hey, we can't be around anymore because we still have it. And I think that would be a sad ending to the show in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And Randy West, that is kind of the point, is at some point people are going to have to figure out, you're going to have to ride this thing out until there's no one else that can get infected. And hope that the people born under this circumstance are not infected. I think it's an alternative to a cure, but I still don't think they'll stop trying to find a cure. Brian Gilligan says, kills. Do you think people could develop immunity from fighting off infection after being exposed to walker guts like Father Gabriel? Maybe that immunity could be passed on to children. Very, very interesting concept. You know what? I think that is worthy of a super chat spotlight. I'm going to ask the 999 Army, everybody, I'm going to ask you this question. Could some exposure and a survival to the virus potentially make you immune to the virus? Kind of like, I don't know. I don't know the full history of chicken pox or smallpox. But in some cases, people use the virus to fight the virus, right? Maybe that doesn't always work in every situation. Interesting, though. That Father G could be the answer? I love where you guys are going with this chat because I don't know that all these will necessarily correlate to Rick's exit, but they definitely sound like long-term storylines that I could really rally around to get an answer. I don't think The Walking Dead, the comic and the show, is just going to go on forever with no answer. I do think there has to be some closure to it. We just don't want that closure because that just means kind of the end of a lot of stuff we talk about. All right, I got a couple more super chats, so I do want to jump in. 1189 Paris, absolutely. We have talked about how walkers would survive in freezing conditions, and that would be a spinoff or a relocation or something. I am definitely interested in seeing would they or would they not survive in extreme cold. They would definitely walk a lot slower, I would think. But maybe freeze. Maybe their bones would be too brittle. I mean, a walker with no skin to cover their bones, you wouldn't think that their bones would be able to survive in the cold. And Old Soul, how did the virus start? Find cause, find cure. It's a good question, and I got a feeling that those people flying around in a helicopter want to know that very same answer, Old Soul. So appreciate that, and we will dig into that. We also got Mel, the vulture, in the house. What's up, Mel? And says, someone gets into a sticky situation, bit, no turn, or someone dies, not from a bite, and doesn't turn. And Mel, I think they teased us with that. With the preacher in Fear the Walking Dead saying he was immune. And we got on board like, oh, could this be the first person this happens with? So for television, I think it's got to come down that way. I just can't imagine all of us watching, let's say there's 2 years that, word leaks and they say, okay, Walking Dead's ending in 2 years. I just don't see all of us watching that final episode of the last person standing and just turning. And now you just be like, yeah, okay, now there's nobody left. We watched this show for 12 freaking years just to watch everybody get bitten? No. I'm not standing for it, and you're not going to stand for it. There's got to be a better story than that. Jimmy's jamming. What's up, JJ? With another super chat. This is a big time super chat, JJ. So it says, Kills, getting back to the chopper, I'm only half kidding when I call it Umbrella Corp, but I do think it's a biopharma with its own paramilitary force looking for a cure, capitalize on a vaccine in the world. Jimmy, and I'll throw this topic out for everybody here because very big group and a lot of good passion, a lot of good thoughts. But I just threw a blanket question out the other night and asked everybody, why do they naturally make the assumption it's military? And I got a lot of answers. We got, the rations, and because, they've been flying around for a while, they got to be coordinated. Also, they thought it was a military helicopter. And then I kind of pointed out that Althea has military stuff, and she's not military. But I do want, what do you guys feel about Jimmy's super chat? Do you feel like it is definitely, are you leaning more toward they're structured and they have a cure? I'm not have a cure. They're structured and they're desperately looking to find a cure. And that's what the whole AB is. And then I have a follow-up question based on that very same scenario. Okay? And as a follow-up, do you think that they have good intentions, or do you think that they are willing to do whatever they need to do, to whomever they need to do, and take some of the ethics out of the situation for the greater good? You think they're all about helping and saving and being anonymous, or do you think that they are just a terrible group of people that are going to do whatever they need to do? Because that mad scientist, there you go, Carrie, that's exactly what I was looking for. Poor ethics. It creates another enemy lined up, doesn't it? Now we got the whispers to deal with, and then we got these people flying around in helicopters that might be doing all kind of crazy experiments. So just food for thought with that. We got another super chat. June Smith. What's up, June? Thank you so much. And sorry we were not here for your super chat last night. There were a couple people that super chatted, I think Lakeisha and June, and then YouTube just went completely crazy. So June says, Kills, I'm not sure they are looking for a cure right now, or did I miss something? Kirkman said they were creating fear to tell us. But June, I think the cure storyline and the element to that is a publicity ace up their sleeve. I think it's one of those things that if the other story's not working and Magna's not gaining the traction that they think she'll get, and the whisper line is not as engaging as people want it to be, then I think they got to add a different element to it. And I think there's several things that they could do. In the past, you know what that secret element has been? Shock kills. Not me. Shocking developments, like kill somebody when people aren't expecting it. And I just got a completely transparent, honest question for all of you. I'm going to try to just ask it so it doesn't end up like a rhetorical type of situation. Why do shocking deaths on The Walking Dead no longer have the impact that they used to have? Think deep into this one. Because that's the relationships and the fact that you tune in and somebody dies, kind of like, what are they going to do next, right? So Sheila Max says, too many deaths, too many of them, coma drug, there you go. Commodore, you hit, Commodore Crawfish hit it on the head. It's because of the spoilers. It's because the very things that we crave are the things that have lessened the show. We have anxiety now over what's going to happen next, and we've gotten desensitized toward it. So I do think, yes, it's happened a few times, but it's because the death's not shocking if you know it's going to happen. And it's why it's kind of my double-edged sword. It's one of those things that they're out there, and if they're out there, we're going to talk about them like we're doing tonight. I mean, we got spoilers in tonight. We got spoilers. We get spoilers from Spoiling Dead fans page. I mean, other sources that provide them to us, and we talk about them once they're out there. But it's because it's the nature of what we do, and we know they're out there, so we can't ignore them. It's going to be part of the week. But I think a lot of us wish that they weren't. So we're going to tag onto that. I do want to build that point a little bit more as far as why that's not effective. But I got a couple more super chats that I want to jump into as well. So we've got Sheila Max says, maybe Anne, a.k.a. Jadis and Gabriel, have a baby equals the cure. Sheila, that might in itself be a bigger answer and a bigger possibility than Rick and Michonne. Rick and Michonne could possibly have a baby that's not immune, but because Father G has been subject to that Walker guts a little bit more, very interesting. So yeah, I'd probably like to spend a whole stream talking about that. But thank you. That's just excellent point. We've got a couple more super chats. So we got Trouble Down Productions says Rick will get comic Andrea's death. Please, no. Trouble Down. Wow. Not that it's bad for you to suggest it. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see Rick luring a bunch of walkers away and saving people. I just... That is not epic. And the three factors that Gimple had said is epic, brutal, and grace. And I don't think that death would be any of those. I mean, that's my feeling. But we'll get some other people are going to chime in on that as well. Mel the Vulture says, did we ever find out for certain in the show that Fort Benning was actually overrun? Rick never ended up seeing it. We just heard it. Was curious. I don't have the answer for that question. And I don't think we did. Anybody, let's see. Did anybody chime in on that? So from what we're seeing is we did not. Okay. We do not know. All right. And Commodore, holy crap, Mel. What if Fort Benning is the junkyard? Now you guys got me questioning. They don't know. They never went to check. Let's do that as a takeaway, and then we can add it to tomorrow's stream. Okay? Because I think we're seeing either some clues. It was. It wasn't. I don't. I do think the junkyard. There were things from the junkyard that they didn't fully develop. I thought there were that big area where everybody kept introducing. I thought that was like a trap door. I thought that was like a bunker. And we never went back and saw it, but I just thought, they were going to kind of open up this thing and kind of go in. And they did have some little caves and some gateways built, but it looked like it was mostly above ground. And then, as a follow-up, Mel says, no, we didn't. The drunks Rick killed in the bar said it. We couldn't trust them. Rick got turned away from Fort Benning when he met Abraham. Opposite direction. So, good point. So, there definitely are other people, whether they're still military operations. What are some of the other things we've thrown out in our chats? Like, are there groups of scientists? Are there politicians? Are there billionaires? Have we seen other than Strand's boyfriend? I mean, have we seen a lot of just crazy rich people who might be able to control? I mean, money's not important now, but the things that they could have accumulated with money. The Savior's rise to power, I mean, that was pretty impressive if you think about it. What Negan was able to do without having any money, just resources, and convince people. So imagine what well-funded people could have done at the beginning, and the type of security and vehicles and bunkers and food and all of those things. I can imagine somehow, somewhere, there's a few really, really set up people. I can't imagine they were just the first people to get eaten. Unless Steven Tyler had his way, and then I guess it would all eat the rich, right? Georgie? Okay, I mean, yeah, Georgie could have been well-funded. I would love to think that Jadis, her future aligns with Rick. And I hope that is the big story, and I hope that's a reveal. And I agree, Mel, secrets. Maybe it was just casual conversation. Maybe, it was her being dramatic with her secret. But we take it in a literal sense. It's multiple secrets. Yeah, DJ, we talked about this a little bit. And we can try to cross Rick's future with Jadis. This is what we know. All right? We do know that Jadis had Rick locked up, no doubt, DJ. And we also, one of the things we talked about in the stream the other night was that these Winslows, I would not be surprised if the bigger picture was to, and Mel touched on this too. So let me take three different elements and tie them together. And this will probably make a little bit of sense. Rick was locked up and had to fight Winslow. And Mel said this, I think, the last stream. When everyone you know is dead, you can be anyone that you want to be. The people that knew Jadas's secrets are all dead. Simon made that happen. Now, ultimately, that might be a blessing in disguise. Because they had to be at least somewhat knowledgeable of what was going on. So now you've got one person that knows about this helicopter. Whereas before, you know, how many people they have? 60, 70, 80, and they're gone. So I do think that her secrets right now definitely lie with her. But you also have Jada supplying people for supplies, and whether it's an A or a B, I'm still trying to process a way where someone could be bitten by a Winslow, and then, you know, Jadis phones it in, and then, hey, I got a fresh one here, you know, take them and check them out. Where it's either a person she wanted to send away as a prisoner, or a person that was just recently infected or bitten. It appeared Rick could have been one of those people. Negan could have been one of those people. But even before that, a little trivia for everybody. Who was the first person that the scavengers took prisoner? And I think this is just so freaking ironic. What irony is it that the first person they took was Father G, and now there's some freaky deaky going on with Jadis and Father G. So we went full circle here. We just went like all Alanis Morissette on everybody. Isn't it ironic? So he could have been the first, and then Rick could have been, and then they're trying to get food supplies, and then she's got a barter. She's trying to get 12 to turn on Rick. And then Negan could have been the next one. So I got a feeling that Jadis is in some debt. I mean, she's probably been on that walkie-talkie so many times that I got a priest, and oh, that didn't work out. All right, I owe you. I got their leader, and we're gonna let him get bit. He's gonna fight Winslow. You can have him in about nope, that didn't work out. And then Negan, and you know, by now they're probably like, come on, lady, you gonna come through? You got something for us? I mean, we're wasting all this fuel. We're flying over. We're sending people in, and you know, she can't get it done. So, as promised, I did say we'd give a little bit more spoilers. So, we do have to get to... We talked briefly about the helicopter. So, Rick did ask Father G if... Rick still doesn't trust Ann. And I'm calling her Jadis. So, if you guys don't like that, I'm sorry. It's habit. But she might be June next week, or related to her. So Rick does ask Father G if he knows where she was at last night, you know, when she was with him and then she left and she was looking up the sky and saw the helicopter. And he says she was with him on watch all night, so he lied. So the good priest lied, but usually what's funny is Father G lied because he wants to go find out the truth himself before other people overreact. So that's why he kind of protected her. But then, you know, all this stuff happens with Justin and Cindy and the Oceanside. So they get back to, it's dark, it's nighttime, and Jadis goes back to the junkyard. You know, she got the walkie-talkie, all of that. That's where she radios in, and I'm going to repeat this because we talked about it the other night. And there's a male voice on the other end. So we know it's not Alpha, okay? Let's clarify it's a male voice. It doesn't mean that A still can't stand for Alpha. Look, I threw that theory out there. I'm not giving up on it yet. But there is a male she's talking to, presumably the person that's flying the helicopter. And here's the way the dialogue goes down. What do you have, an A or a B? And she doesn't answer right away. So she says, what happened last night? Did you take them? And that's the saviors that are missing. And the male voice is pretty wrecked. No pickups, but the deal stands. We have an A or a B. So Jadis wants to try to negotiate. She goes, I've already paid. And the voice tells her that she's already been compensated, and she asks, what will it take? And the voice says, an A. So they're definitely looking for an A. But that's not where it ends. Father G followed her. So when Father G follows her, she basically fesses up and says, look, I've been trading people for supplies. That's some of her secrets that she's talking about. There's probably more. There has to be more. She tries to convince him to come far away, but he can't tell anyone, and Father G refuses and tells her he has to tell Rick. And she punches him and knocks him out cold. Bam. So Jadis appears to she either wants to leave or she has a connection in the helicopter, but either way, she wants to take Father G. And I can't do it. I got to tell Rick. Bam. And that's kind of the end of the storyline with Jadis, Father G, and some of that. The other stuff that happens at the end, we talked about that last night. So let me throw this out to the group. Does Jadis, I'm going to give you a couple options, okay? Is Jadis running from the people in the helicopter and she wants to take Father G somewhere else and just disappear? That's option A. Option B, you see what I'm doing here? A and B. All right, hopefully you guys got that. Option B is she can trust the people in the helicopter and she wants to take Father G with her on the helicopter. Let's see what you think. Timothy says option A. Some people are saying B, and if you say neither, then give me another option. But those of you that are saying B, I would remind you, when she looked up at the sky, she looked afraid. And number two, if you choose option B, do you really want to someone popped in the wrong stream apparently. Do you really want to take your newly found boyfriend and get on a helicopter and hang out with a group that you have been trading people for supplies? Because if they run out of people, then you might be their people. So I respectfully have to disagree with all the B's. I don't think you can trust them. I mean, well, you know, we ran out of people this week. So, Father G, we were going to take you about 6 months ago before Rick and Rosita and company came and saved you. But I've seen a couple people type this in chat. Let's see what you think about this. A for adult, B for baby. I don't see Jada going around hijacking newborns. Do you? I mean, it sounds good, adult and baby. But I don't know. I can't get around that. I mean, that's just me. I'm not trying to minimize your theory. It is difficult to say. I don't feel that. Because I don't feel there's enough babies. I mean, I'm more alive and bitten, but you know, the next person's going to chime in. They're going to say A for alcoholic, B for butcher, and then they're going to say, oh, they're taking Earl because Earl's an alcoholic. No, I mean, I don't. It's tough to tell. I mean, alive, bitten, alpha, beta. A is normal, B is infected. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that A equals anything. Okay, I did it again. I used an A word. But, I mean, it just could be like 1 and 2. And, you know, maybe that's just their way of sorting things out. But once again, let me go back to the secrecy and the fact nobody else knows what's going on. I mean, it's so convenient that all of Jadas's people that were accomplices. Here's the problem, and I know this is. I got to circle back in a minute and tie this back into Rick. But here's my problem. When we saw the scavengers, I didn't like them. And then I almost liked them. You know, I felt for them a little bit. And then they made a deal with Negan, and I didn't like them. And then they all got meat grinded, and I felt bad for them. And now I find out they're trading humans so they could eat. So I don't like them. This is 5 times that the writers have jerked me around with my emotions. I don't think I ever loved them, but I definitely sympathized with them. I mean, I didn't hate them. I was kind of interested. A for a leader, B for secondary. Randy, I don't know. I wouldn't trade people for supplies. What would you do? What kind of question is that? No, Randy West. Stop for a second. Hold on. I got to put this chat on pause for 1 second. Randy, where are you? Trade for the greater good. No. Come on. There is zero chance I would ever trade a human being to feed myself. There's just no way. I would rather wilt up and die before I would never trade another person. Absolutely not. I would gladly die of starvation before I would say, here, take this person, and have to sit down and eat some applesauce saying, this is some good apples. My conscience would absolutely destroy me. But hey, that's some really good applesauce. Come on. Even in a zombie apocalypse, you still have feelings and emotions and the difference between right and wrong. You can't be barbaric. I couldn't do it. It's not life over death. That's not a life. Living with consequence is not a life. No. You know, Green and Randy, I will never go on a trip with you, because if that something gets stranded, I'm going to be the first person that's going to be eaten by the two of you. Not going to happen. And you can say, well, you've never been in that situation. No. But believe me, there's a difference between self-defense than human trafficking and sending people away to their death so you can enjoy a nice can of applesauce. That's not the way it works. That's not building a future. All right. I kind of made that point. All right, let's move on. I got DDA Ohio here. DDA says with a super chat, option C, Jada runs, taking Father G with her, but is caught by that group. She tells them that Father G is her offering and then has to rescue him. I like that. But DDA, we're not going to get to option C apparently, because Father G was not buying it and Jadis knocked him out because he was going to go tell Rick. So now he might be her offering involuntarily. Got another super chat. We got Mel the Vulture. Says, if I'm indebted to someone and I'm willing to go against what I think is right just to keep them happy, they have to promise me something. Spare my life. Spare someone's life I love. What is my reward for doing what they ask of me? So, this is a very scrupulous type of question here, or comment. So, clearly, I would not. This is gonna turn out poorly, because I'm gonna ask you guys to respond to Mel's comment. But I have to go to Morgan's philosophy. If you believe that life is precious, and Mel's pointing this out, and if you guys want to answer this, you can answer this. If you don't feel comfortable, don't. Because I don't want the conversation to get super serious. You guys know we keep it a little bit light. I don't think I can trade another person's life, even for the life of somebody that I care about. I can't put a higher value on one life over another life. And if you guys are answering completely honest, and you may say, look, I don't believe that, you can. I mean, I guess we don't ever know until we're in that situation. I'm just saying the way I feel that I think. And I know some of you will say, oh, I would gladly trade this person for, to save my husband. I'd gladly trade this person for something else. If you're talking about self-defense, that's a different story. But if you're just talking about, here's an innocent person, and I'm going to trade this innocent person for someone that I have an attachment with, no. You know what I would do? I would trade myself and say, spare this person and that person, just take me instead. Because I just don't, and maybe it's too real for the TV show, and maybe Jadis is not living with that guilt. But I know that I would. And exactly, Old Soul says I would do that first. Tommy's like, you're Rick. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just, that'd be a hell of a thing to wake up to every day. So, and Mel, I think that's a good follow-up, but I kind of want to approach it from two ways. So Mel says, the point of the question is, what does Jadis get for helping the copter guys? So Julie says to live. The applesauce. Yeah, I mean, both kind of go hand in hand. So let's kind of take both super chats in one. And one, is it worth a negotiation? And second, it doesn't appear that Jadis is a very good negotiator, because she's been talked down out of several. That's probably a better super chat follow-up right there, Mel. What if she can't give herself because she's not what they need? So, or Mel, I think a better point is, what if she can't give herself because they need more, and they need her to be the feet on the street that's out there actively recruiting until they find what it is they're looking for, either a cure or a blood type or a DNA, it's something that they don't want to let her off the hook. So I think the point Mel's making, and see if you guys agree with this, is one, could you possibly do something you don't think is right if you set the right terms, if there is an out, if you have an exit strategy? Like, I'm going to do it, but this is the last time. And how many movies have had that storyline? I mean, hasn't like every drug movie that's out there been like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. This is the last time I'm going to do it. And then they get caught. Like, it's always the one last job, or the bank robbery movie. Maybe not the drug movies, but the bank robbery movies. Like, all right, we're going to get one more hit, and after this hit, we're going to have enough money, we're going to retire. So, Mel, I think that's the big question. More of whatever A is and more of whatever B is. And that's what we got to really get to the bottom of, because clearly she needed 12 people. Now, let's get into what numbers really mean. So we talked about 12 people, right? So what did we draw the 12 parallel to? And I'm gonna simplify this even a little bit more. I don't think it's as complicated as the paying tribute to 12 Monkeys, right? No, not Oceans 11, 12, and 13. Now that I look back on it, I think 12 was a year's supply of food. I think she probably was planning ahead for her group. I think it's 12 months. I think one person probably bought her enough food for a month. I think that was just a simple agreement that they had. And she was out there trying to continually provide. Yep, we got a person that gives us one more month. And she felt an obligation to all those people. Mel, I'm gonna need an A from you, okay? Mel's getting ready to take off, but we can't we can't let Mel out of his contract unless he provides an A. And Mel, thank you. Appreciate the insight and all the super chats and the involvement. So good stuff. Always a pleasure, and appreciate your insight. See, now you got moderators trying to get you to stay. And look, I don't know. Like, but we don't know what A means, so I'm just drawing the parallel to Jada's. Have a good night. Well, what could we safely say? How many mouths was Jada's feeding? What do we say? 60, 70? That's a lot of food. You know, 2, maybe 3 meals a day. One follow-up. It's been 18 months. So either, and this is just food for thought as we wind the stream down, whoever is in that helicopter may not have made contact with Jadis for 18 months, and they still remember that there was a debt to pay. Now, she could have talked behind the scenes, but you're just given the impression that it has been a little while. And with that, I want to wind down tonight's stream. We are an hour and 13 minutes. So a little bit longer. We didn't have a stream last night. You guys were very engaging, very involved. Hopefully we got enough data out there. I've heard some people like, hey, that's some good stuff. I got something to think about. Not just coming from me. I mean, this is a lot of your comments, just a lot of super chats of really good theories, predictions, the future. If you watch the entire stream or go back to the beginning, we did talk tonight about Rick's future. One, on the site, IMDb, they've got him listed all the way through episode number 8. And then also the subtle hint of that he and Michonne are having babies. We talked about cures. And then we got into some of the spoilers. So just a lot of fun. All these streams the last probably week or so have been very super engaging. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. And we got a little bit of overtime tonight. We will be back here tomorrow night at 9:30. If we've got 400 people, probably actually in and out, who've been doing this, I'd say we probably have about 900, 950 people. So of all the people that are either here now or come back in, do me a favor, hit that like button, show a little bit of love, represent the 999 Army, And those of you that just happen to roam into the wrong place, as I said before, hit the dislike button. No hard feelings either way, and we'll try to do a little bit better. I want to say thank you to all the patrons, the upper left-hand corner. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for your support for this channel. You do so much each and every day. I'm extremely blessed, extremely thankful to have just an awesome group of people that support our network. And the two newest people, as we mentioned before, just a special shout out to Jonathan Jordan and also Knoxville Mike. Also, my sponsors over in the top right corner, you can see they're highlighted in green with a lot of cool emojis. Thank you so much. And do want to shout out a whole lot of super chatters tonight. Mel was in like some rare form as well, but we started it out as always. We got, oh, and they had last night's as well. So we got Lakeisha with a super chat, June Smith, Valar saying hello to everybody, Servant Chris, Michelle Mercer, Jimmy's Jammin', Brian Gilligan, 1189 Paris, Old Soul, Mel the Vulture, multiple super chats, Jimmy Jammin', multiple super chats, June Smith, Sheila Mack, Trouble Down Productions, Commodore Captain Crawfish, DDA Ohio. Thank you. You guys are absolutely amazing. So everybody that is still here, I haven't forgotten about you, because you're the reason we get together and do this every night. It is the 999 Army. If you're brand new to what we do, hit the subscribe button. You're going to want to come back. You're going to want to get involved. Most people that attend our streams, they can't sit by idly. They have to talk. They got to chat. They got to do their thing. And that's what we're all about. We're not a forum that you go and post stuff and read it 5 days later. We're a real-time chat. Some people watch the playback and they'll say stuff like, Kills, you talked and you paused. They don't understand that we're interacting. So I'm waiting sometimes 5-10 seconds for your comments to come up and reading and picking out which ones we want to comment. So if people only want to stream where you go in and talk 90 miles an hour, I can really talk fast if I need to, but that's not what we're about. We're not just here to hear me talk. We're here to interact. So thank you so much. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Give me a whole bunch of 999s because I want to shout out as many people as we possibly can on the way out the Dizzo. So I want to say what's up to DDA Ohio, Shane Yutzy, my moderators, Emmy Steph, Tommy Kells, Antonio Johnson, thank you so much, Emma McCalick, Daniel Corzo, Jennifer Flaherty, Tammy Heitzman, Sheila Mack, Madison Dickey, Taps Ghost Lover, Tracy Dees, Shelton Arthur, Edwin Gonzalez. If you don't think there's a lot of Walking Dead fans, look at your screen and look at how quick the 999 scroll up. We can't even call everybody out. Lisa, Gina Crockett, Crystal Gibson, Logan 5, Pete V, Kimberly M. I've heard there are other YouTubers out there. I don't watch them, but people send me messages that said, because we have captured a lot of the live streams, there's other people that used to only do 5-minute video clips that are getting more and more involved in the live stream. So imagine that we create a good forum and people like what we do, so they try it on different channels. But I think we're the original, and I think you guys are absolutely, you guys make this so much more entertaining than other places. Randy West, thanks for being here. Football stuff, Gamma, Kerry Major, Darko77, Jonathan Jordan, hey, have a good night, peace. Lisa Smith, thank you. Thanks for all those hearts. You guys are doing a lot of cool heart emojis tonight. Appreciate that. Lady Luther, thank you. Rochelle Ledent, have a great night. Melvin Evans, have a good night. Bumblebee Brown. Hilda Pineda, thank you. The Walking Dead Nerd, always a pleasure. Crystal the Singer Chick, thank you. You rock as well. Jason the Mixologist, thanks my man. Thank you, Cammy. Appreciate that. Marco, I probably cannot even try your last name. Ricciardo? I'm going to try it. Marco Ricciardo. I tried it 2 ways. Subtle difference there. I think one of two got to be right. Thanks, Julie McGuire. Appreciate it. And as always, hey, thanks, Tommy. And tell Mom Jackie the love is mutual. So appreciate and just a speedy recovery. Thank you, Chris Riddle. Appreciate you, man. 1189. Love that comment. Thank you. Diamond Vandermensch. Best of luck. Get well soon. Real Dave Doherty. Loco Mirage. As I was saying with you guys, just do me a couple favors. One, if I don't shout you out, be patient. I'll get you one of these streams. And number two, remember, once this video goes live, There's thousands of people, 7, 8, 10, 15,000 people are going to watch the playback. They are commenting to your comments real time. So just an extra reminder, get over there and check out the playback every once in a while, because you're going to see some comments, and go down and reply to their comments, because they're going to be replying to stuff that we say and we do real time. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night. Commodore OU Crawfish 999, thank you so much. Ron Burgundy Moore. And to everybody I missed, I will catch you all 9:30 tomorrow night. Be here. Peace.